All right. Hi, everyone. It's Karissa from Sun Control of Minnesota. We are here for our Shining Light on Minnesota in our brand new podcast room. We want to know what everybody thinks of it. It's pretty cool, pretty laid back. But we have a super exciting special guest here, Claire Rung from the U of M.
Yep.
Hi, Claire.
Hey, Karissa. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for coming out. So I think some of the things we want to talk about today, or where we'll get started, is let's hear about you a little bit about your backstory, where you've been, and where you're going.
Sure. So I grew up mostly in Blaine, in the north side of the Twin Cities, and one of my favorite experiences was being close to my granddad, who would bring me down to his shop starting in middle school and high school. Did furnishings, all custom jobs, right? So it wasn't just like a neat childhood experience, I think, that people don't often get, but it in a way motivates me every day for what I do, which is to help small and disadvantaged architecture, construction, and engineering firms.
Awesome. That's a great story. So your granddad, is he from Blaine as well?
Well, he's from Italy, but Blaine is
very
where
cool.
He's resided for the past 20 years or so. Yeah.
Fun. What part of Italy?
Venice, specifically a town called Valdagno. It's a couple hours north, but we just say Venice because nobody's going to know where the other is.
Absolutely. So you have a background in communications. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background and your schooling that you've done and things like that as well?
Yeah. So I have a BA in communication studies from Western Kentucky University. And I intentionally kind of went general. I knew I wanted to work in some sort of heavy industry, but really wasn't sure how I would fit in. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was also doing debate in high school and into college, and it seemed like a natural fit. To give some flow from the previous little tidbit, one of the things I thought was neatest and still is about my grandpa is he just has an excellent way of talking to people, maintaining relationships. And I think that really inspired me to go beyond, instead of, just getting a construction manager's degree or an engineering degree, right? There's a place for the marketing and business development people as well.
Absolutely. So you're doing some business development, you're doing some inclusion stuff. Tell everybody where you're at right now and what you're doing in your role.
Yeah. So I'm the Supplier Diversity Manager with the University of Minnesota's Office for Supplier Diversity. And I handle all things construction, architecture, engineering. So you're exactly right. About half of my job is business development, trying to bring people in or even helping them succeed beyond. And I also handle project administration. So all of the hundreds of projects we have going on at a time, I've got a hand in each cookie jar, so to speak.
Yeah. So for the listeners that don't know, maybe let's explain to them a little bit about our nitty-gritty business development that we do.
Yeah. And I have a habit of taking leaps, so thanks for slowing me down there. Business development, really, we're trying to attract these small and diverse businesses to do work at the university, right? We want to support the communities we live in, and that means getting business, not just to the larger firms out there, right? So,
yeah.
It is the Office for Supplier Diversity, but for us, that's very, if you want to say, like kinetic, if not tactile, and we are trying to bring people in. So our ideas of diversity and inclusion are very direct. We have a measurable result.
How do people, if they want to get involved in the U or in the supplier diversity part of it, how do they get in touch with you guys?
Definitely. So our website is really easy. It's osd.umn.edu. Again, osd.umn.edu. There's a contact page. You can find myself, Claire Rung, or any of my colleagues on there will be able to help you in some way. And so if you have questions about our program, just out of curiosity or because you think, hey, this might be an in for business, we don't bite most of the time. So shoot us an email.
Sometimes, but that's a you and I back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have, what I didn't know a while ago is a lot of times you guys kind of try to pull people in out on job sites too and get them connecting and networking. Tell maybe our viewers a little bit about that and some things that they can do when they're out there doing pre-visits and things like that.
Yeah, that's right. I like to put it this way. Going to see the site for a job or for a bid is not just about going to see the site for a job or a bid. It's one of the few opportunities you get to have to interact sort of with the purchasers at the university. And as many of you probably know, this world, nothing gets done in a vacuum. You need partners who are suppliers, who are general contractors, or vice versa. So, attend those meetings, even if you're not sure you're going to bid, or if we're hosting a luncheon at the U of M, come and attend. I think a real underpinning to all of this is trying to develop a relationship, right? So the more you can show not just that you've seen the space you want to work on, but you're in touch with the people you'd be doing work with at a very direct level is just absolutely essential in this work.
How do people that are out there find out about the luncheons or find out about the bids, everything like that? Is there a way for them to get on a bid board or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of procurement, every formal purchase at the university goes through a website called MBID. There is a link to that site on the website I mentioned earlier. And I'm sure we could probably put something out with this podcast with that information in it. But we have a very streamlined procurement system. So once you're on MBID, it's not that difficult. Just tool around in it, see what bids are being issued. I mean, we buy everything from paper towels to lasers, right?
Right, yeah.
In terms of the luncheon, I would really encourage you to probably reach out to myself or my colleague, Wing Whithune. She's our business development manager. So we can kind of get a sense of what are you looking for, what is your business or trade about, and then sort of select the opportunities that are appropriate for you.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Wing is amazing. I see her all the time too. I mean, between I think you and I and Wing, we have a lot of the associations and a lot of the business development networking events covered.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And for those of you who don't know, that's how Karissa and I met, is through the Association of Women Contractors. So we're also present, and we like to bring our partners to these little industry networking events as well. And for two people, I would say we're pretty mighty. We're not the only people in our office, but we seem to be everywhere. At least that's what people tell us.
Yeah, they also say, they can't flow you if they don't know you. And I think people know us. Like whether you're out on the street, I know we've had those conversations of seeing people at the events and then seeing them in person, and they start talking to you, and you got to kind of click and figure out who they are or where they're at. Yes.
Yep. I often like to joke, if I read it once, I'll probably remember it the rest of my life, but I can have a conversation with somebody about 3 times before it really clicks. So
Absolutely.
I just ask, if you meet me, be patient with me. But you did key on to something important there, which is like, okay, it's construction, it's safety driven, there's low profit margins, yada, yada, but everything is about the relationship. If somebody doesn't know you, trust you to pick up the phone, know what you're about, have had conversations with you, it's really difficult to put any amount of money on your plate, right? They need to be sure you're going to do the job. And a lot of that comes back to just connecting with people and being present.
Yeah. I mean, and it all starts with planting the seeds, right? So you're out there never knowing with what's going to work, what's not going to work. But on the same hand, it's exciting to know that, the more people that start to know you, maybe not now, but in the future,
that's right,
they're going to need you or need your business or your services. So it's always important to be omnipresent.
That's right. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but, a lot of this happens in large time scales. So just connecting with somebody for, a couple minutes, an hour, maybe you won't do business with them for another year or two, but it was that initial meeting that might really make the difference, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I know that people say, I've heard them say about you, I've heard them say about Wing, about, other people too, is sometimes it's not always about the business. It's when you come into people's lives at the right time, or there's things that are meant to be, and just making a difference, trying to let people know that, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. I can mentor, I can help. But most importantly, I'm getting to know you as a person. Yeah,
that's exactly right. I don't think anybody really wants to do business at a place where, you have no idea who you're talking to the entire time, and you're just reading schematics and bid documents and designs. I think that good institutions are governed by rules, but at the same time, it's really hard to push that forward without good people.
So since you started at the U and where you guys are today, how much has your role changed?
Definitely. So our office was restructured about a year before I joined on, and I'm in my second year here. So it went from a 1-person, 2-person team that was doing everything from supplier diversity to economic development to now 5 people, all in supplier diversity with a little bit of that economic development component. So, when I joined this job, I was really all just project administration. Get your reports to me, go to bid meetings, et cetera, et cetera. But, the more I learn the lessons, most of which we just talked about, the more it becomes critical that as I'm more efficient in doing that and I have extra time, well, let's go do a podcast with Karissa, right?
Random, but yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, The podcast is kind of the same thing for us. It's all about, making connections, helping people get out there and say, hey, the U is here, and these are the ways to get in touch with them. And, how can we help you succeed? How can we help other people get in touch with you and just keep growing?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I mean, we are often the front line of contact, Wing and myself and our partners in the office for people who want to do business at the U. And, we don't just limit ourselves to talking with small and disadvantaged business. Again, this is a whole ecosystem. So even if you're not sure you fall in that bucket, but you want to do procurement at the U and you support a diverse business community, there's absolutely a conversation to be had.
Absolutely. So with everything that you guys are doing, where do you think that you're going to keep growing, or where do you think you're going to end up in the future? Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I won't give too much away, but I have to say I really love business development. I think the more and more I've found myself in that kind of role where, it's go to a networking event or take a lunch with somebody, develop a relationship, and then get out of the way while the technicals get executed afterwards. That's really where I thrive. Project administration is great, and obviously our numbers are important, but like I said, going back to just watching my granddad be an ace with people, I definitely take after him in that way.
He sounds like an amazing person, and people don't understand in the business development world, it's just not a 9 to 5. It's the mornings, it's the weekends, it's the nights, it's anytime there's an event or a trade show or a home show or anything, you go. You never know where that person you're going to meet is coming from, or where they've seen you, or how many times they've seen you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I get the sense you're probably the same way, but I think it's a type of job, even if it's not in our industry, so to speak, that really does attract people who aren't just trying to, get a paycheck or push the clock, right? It takes, I think, a degree of really caring about your industry, and especially for us in construction, architecture, engineering, and then economic development, making our communities better. Right. So, for me, that extra hour or two or whatever it is hardly a cost, because that's what it takes to get done.
Yes, absolutely. And in those couple hours, too, people don't realize that that's what's going to make you stand out, make you go above and beyond, and what's going to make those communities and economies flow.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So we've seen you at a lot of events. What events do you have coming up, or where can people see you when you're out and about?
Definitely. So we have the Minnesota Minority Goods and Services Association. Don't quote me on this. I want to say the 17th of April, new member mixer, and the Office for Supplier Diversity will be a big component of that. Mm-hmm. As you know, we attend the monthly meetings for the National Association of Minority Contractors, the Association of Women Contractors, and as well, I'm very involved with the Economic Development Association in Minnesota. So
perfect.
Those are kind of our headlines, but with us being everywhere, we find a new event each week to go to. Yep.
Do you like going to the ones back home, like in the Blaine area? Do you go to many over there? Yeah.
It's really exciting to see. I mean, I think, we had a firm just recently host one, MC Tool and Safety, up in Blaine, and it was just fantastic not just to like interact with a business that was like down the street from where we grew up, but every time I come back, it's an opportunity to see just how much Blaine specifically is growing, and that, to me, while the university doesn't really touch Blaine, so to speak, it's the exact reason that I do the job. It was a great place to grow up, but now it's beyond thriving.
Yep. Have you seen any of the prints for the National Entertainment Center that's going to be coming out in the future?
Yes,
it's going to be amazing.
It's super exciting. I think there's an athletes village planned, an amphitheater planned, and I think that really will bridge the gap between just the industry and the sports stuff up 65 and all of the residential communities, and kind of creating common places for everybody to mingle. That's not just at a restaurant table or on sports bleachers proper, right?
Yeah. So we're going to kind of scale back a little bit. When you went to get your degree for communications, did you ever think you'd be in the role that you are today? Were you kind of hoping for that, or did you not really have an idea?
I think it was probably a little more subconscious.
Yeah.
I got the sense I probably was going to be one of those people who ended up in a family business, whether literally at my granddad's shop, which, he sold off, or doing the kind of trades that I watched my parents and grandparents do. Outside of a few people in my family, I was really more or less a first generation college student. So I was just thrilled to be there, communication seemed like a good fit. And to be honest, my plan was just get my degree, find a place to post up, and a good job will come to me if I look hard enough.
Did you get the U job right out of Kentucky, or what brought you back?
No. So what brought me back, Minnesota is just an awesome place. I've been to, I think, 35 states at this point,
Nice.
and there is nothing like the balance of like that small community feel, but also having a city that's, starting to rival, if not get beyond places like Kansas City or other places in the Midwest. So, I think there were 1,000 draws to come back home. I didn't start at the U out of school. I actually worked for 2.5 years as a supervisor at UPS and Tractor Trailer.
Very cool.
Yeah, at the time I was consider myself a logistics and a supply chain manager, and that's kind of what brought me to the U of M. And then being tasked with that construction architecture engineering portfolio sort of, I think, awakened that subconscious part of my brain that says, build stuff, work with people who build stuff.
I think what people don't understand is a lot of times, obviously college life has changed a lot for kids these days, now and before, but they never know what they're going to do when they get out of school. They might go to school for one thing, they might change their degree, or nowadays going into the trades, trying to find something where you can work right away is just as important. Probably not preaching to the choir, but just as important as you want to figure out where you're going and what you're doing. Oh,
100%. I think I read something that really encouraged me around the time I was at university, which is in today's world, which that was back in the 2010s, it's more than likely you'll have 2, if not 3 careers over the span of your working life. Whereas, for my parents and especially my grandparents, it was, you get one job once you're out in the world, and that's what you work in, and that's what you are. And, I think there can kind of be an element of overwhelmingness with so much opportunity out in front of you, but that's okay. Try out, things that interest you. And if it doesn't work out, it's not like it was 40 years ago. No. There will be another career opportunity down the line, and there are so many people out there who are willing to entertain that, even if that wasn't your formal education or your first experience. Right.
You definitely have room to reinvent yourself too. So a lot of times what you're going to and what you're doing isn't going to be where you end up. You never know where you'll be 5 years from now, 2 years from now, or even tomorrow. So it's kind of like every day is a new day.
That's exactly it.
With the U and with everything you have going on, what are some of the challenging positions and things that you've had to deal with?
Yeah. So I think challenges are, for the most part, always good. But I alluded to this earlier. The university is a large place, right? And our office, the Office for Supplier Diversity, we touch every campus, every research outreach center. So, well, I love it. My world is definitely a world of, spinning plates and falling forks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but that's okay. The more that you learn to deal with volume, right?
Yep.
Will force you to learn to prioritize. And, my logic is if I can handle 150 to 300 projects at a time, whatever comes next is not going to be nearly as hard.
Right. And it kind of helps the ebbs and flows. There's going to be times that'll be obstacles that you're going to be learning from. And then there's going to be times that'll be, okay, I'm waiting. What's next? Just kind of the stalling, like what's going to happen. So
yep, that's right.
It's exciting to me. So how many, for the listeners that don't know, and they think the U of M, they just think here in the Twin Cities,
right.
How many other branches are there?
Yeah, so in the eastern part of the state, of course, we have Duluth and Rochester as primary campuses. They're both urban. Duluth is much more built out than Rochester.
Yes.
And we also have Crookston and Morris in the western part of the state. And in addition to that, we do have a research outreach center in every county in Minnesota. I think 87.
Yep.
That's right.
So that throws a little curveball at it when someone says, hey, this is where I need to be.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I just as often will find myself, going 10 minutes down the street for an academic building as I will, driving out to Wilmer for the poultry facility, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So how much traveling do you do in your day-to-day, and what is business development? How far out does that take you?
Yeah, travel is constant. I'm getting great use out of my vehicle, but I do kind of like that variety, right? People ask me all the time, are you in office or you work from home, and I'm like, I'm
Yes,
everything.
just
I'm
yes.
somewhere. Yeah, exactly. I'm somewhere new every single day. And for this job proper, it's brought me as far out as, Chicago in order
Yep.
to try to bring firms in that we might not have here in the cities, and as well just to kind of get a sense of what are our public partners in other states doing.
Absolutely. How do you see that Minnesota relates to other states in the supplier inclusion diversity areas?
Well, I'm probably biased here, but I think we do great.
Yeah.
What I really appreciate about the U, and I think a lot of public entities in Minnesota, is that there is a very excellent balance between, obviously there's an imperative to get work for small and disadvantaged businesses, and, that does require requirements in the contract,
Absolutely.
right? But on the other hand, I don't think there's a single person I've interacted with at the U or, with any of our public partners that doesn't realize you have to build relationships with people and they have to be authentic.
Yep.
Right. And so many times when I hear complaints about, other states for whatever victories they have, it's usually because one or the other is lacking. Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, we have a ton of people to talk to, but when it comes down to like making the rubber meet the road, there's no traction, or vice versa. Hey, we have all these great myriad programs, but we're shooting in the dark in terms of trying to find an actual human to talk to.
Right. And it gets to be hard. I mean, in your world, I'm sure for sure, or any role similar to that of cutting yourself too thin. It's like you want to be in so many places and touch so many people and talk to so many people and spread the word, but you also have to have those in-depth conversations.
That's right. I mean, it gets back to that nugget about prioritization. Some people are more intuitive. I probably count myself in that group. Some people are more data-driven, but regardless of how you measure, I mean, you have to have a good sense of where am I going to spend my time today and what impact is that going to have, not just on the university, but the businesses I work with.
Yep.
So you learn very quickly. You would love to have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner with 3 different businesses per day, but that's just not realistic.
No. And you could have that planned for one day, and guess what? None of them are going to happen.
Oh, yeah. What did I do? Show up 2 hours late to this? Sometimes it happens.
No, it happens. There's fires to put on. I think that's what makes our role, your role, my role, being flexible, you just go with the flow, and whatever happens, happens.
You have to pivot. And this is a total sidebar, really, but I saw something that was super fascinating. Maybe I'll chalk this up to my own experience, but, people my age grew up at the advent of video games being mass popular. And apparently there's studies out there that say people who got really into video games are great at pivoting in work, right? Some people have a really hard time going from, banging out a spreadsheet for an hour and then going to a lunch where you have to, put on, not an act, but you have to get back into that personal element. So thanks. I'll attribute it to Call of Duty. I don't know, but you do have to be good at pivoting, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And that's what the role 90% of the time is. I mean, you could be at a trade show for 6 hours and you could have that one person come through and just want to sit there and have a conversation. And it's all right, let's do this. It's important to them. They want to connect. They want to let you know where they're at, what they're doing. And you just don't know where that's going to go or grow into.
That's exactly it.
It's super exciting to have you here in our brand new room.
It's gorgeous. I love
it. It's warm. It's inviting. Yes. So what do you think is next for you in regards to the U in your diversity supplier inclusion? Is there anything coming in the works, something new that people don't know about?
Probably nothing I could advertise at the moment. We really did, because of the stellar additions to our team in the past year, kind of execute that strategic work plan, get in place who's doing what, building out programs. But I would say the main thing to keep your eye on is, as our office expands its reach throughout our system, expect more luncheons, not just in the Twin Cities, but I don't know, maybe Crookston will be next, right? Hint, hint, wink, wink, right?
Yep. See where the car takes me next.
Yep. Yeah. Then that's really what we kind of think about. I will say, I in terms of the technical elements of our program, what goes into an RFP, request for proposal, we're in a good place, right?
Yeah.
We think we are, but there's always something to do in terms of being able to meet people, right?
Yeah.
So, next trade show you go to, if you haven't seen us there before, shoot us an email, or you might just see us there anyway. But we're getting out there.
Or if you're not there, You'll be at our event.
That's
You're
right.
coming to our event.
The
That's
Sun
super
Control
exciting.
Expo.
Yes,
Yeah.
on April 25th from 3 to 7 at our Rice Street location. It'll be super exciting. We've got a lot of GCs, a lot of schools. We're really just trying to help our network, everybody's network.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I mean, it's really easy for the quote unquote the buyer, right? The government entity in this case, or an industrial partner or just an industry organization to put on a trade show or an expo, but to have, just a straight up private sector firm like yours say, this is our network, this is who we're with, come see what's going on, right? There really cuts at the lesson there. Like, all of us have something to teach. And this industry is so driven by, again, not just relationships, right? But developing a community.
Right.
We're not all competitors all the time, right?
No, right.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have something a little more laid back, but when sectors or different businesses or different people have a product for everybody like we have, we can't just seclude it and say, okay, we're going to do it with just this specific association, because we have something for everybody. So all the GCs, all the subcontractors, schools, anybody that are not just GCs and subs, but associates, we'd love to have you out. So,
absolutely. And you'll see me there if you want to, establish that relationship in person. I'll be up there, and my partner, Wing Whit-Hune, will be up at the Minnesota Tribal Contractors Council annual spring dinner in Proctor.
Yep, that's exciting. That's a good one.
If you have a big team, maybe you'll see us in both places.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you are everywhere. Amazing, super awesome.
You're going to make my head pop if you keep inflating my ego.
Well, it's hard. It's one of those things that people don't realize, but like everywhere I go, I'm like, oh, there's Claire. Oh, hi, Claire.
Yep, that's right. That's right. If you're everywhere, you're just, I like to think that the more you're out, the more it'll come to you, right? The more present you are, it's not just about people trusting you or being like, oh, it's a person I should talk to. It's just you appear what you are, a stakeholder in the industry.
Yep. Yeah. And being omnipresent. I mean, you guys are not just seen, but you're heard, and you have the you behind you, but it's also that personal tactic. And like you were saying, goes back to your granddad and just making those personal relationships happen. I think that's important.
That's right.
So for students upcoming at the U, what do you think are some of their challenges, and what do you think will help overcome those?
Yeah. So, COVID was obviously a big disruptor to, the global economy and so many levels of our society. But I just try to think about it this way. We're in that generation of college student where their entire schooling experience from the 9th grade may have been mostly virtual.
Right.
That's new. Right. So, it's not just the students trying to figure out, okay, dorm life might be a bigger hop, even if you're from the cities. It's also us, even on the auxiliary side, which is where my office is, figuring out, okay, how do we reconfigure our space for a hybrid attendance world, or for our academic professionals? How do we adjust learning strategies for people who had a wildly different experience than, even the last generation of college students? Right. So I think it's just trying to understand that, young people in their formative years, especially, this has been a third, a fourth of their life, right? Yeah. At a time when they're coming of age. So just trying to understand that that's going to be the whole world for people that age, and, trying to, if not restructure, just make adjustments in what we do, not just how we teach, but again, how we use our space as a task that all of us have a role to play. For
sure. I think that also helping them transition into the work-life balance.
Yes.
And there are businesses, obviously, that will let you do the hybrid. Some want you back. Some will let you work from home. But trying to find that happy medium and where they're going to fit is important, too.
That's right. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about with, having maybe a couple career choices in front of you instead of just one, where, you might go do a remote job and you think that's what works for you, and you end up just hating it because you want to be in person with people, right, or vice versa. So, in a kind of a direct way to that point, try it out, see what works for you. There will be room to adjust, and there are lots of people out there who want to help you succeed, regardless of whether you're working from home or at the office, or you're just in a new place every day like you and I.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Living out of our car, basically. I get
We're
it.
probably the only people who nothing changed for us.
No, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm in my car and by myself. We're good. I might be
Yes.
going to different events or they might be Zoom calls, but I'm still got nonstop events every single day.
Yep, that's right. And
Yeah.
it's good to stay busy.
Absolutely. I think my calendar's booked out. I think it's funny when people are like, "Weren't you just in Mankato and then you're in La Crosse and now you're here?" Yep. Let's do it.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
That's exactly it.
Willing to travel. Yes.
It's a big one.
So how far? I know you said you were in Chicago. Do you guys go to other states other than just Chicago, or do you stay more in the Midwest to try to pull everything in?
For me and the role that's focusing on construction, architects, and engineers, it really is Midwest driven,
Yep.
right? So I think Wisconsin and Illinois are the big ones for me, which isn't to say we won't get out elsewise, but my partner Wing, she is like truly everywhere. I think she was in Denver last week. Now she'll be in Denver again.
Yep.
I think we've got Baltimore on the docket once more.
Right.
So
It's like, how many places can you fly while I'm driving, and we'll just get them all covered.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. I mean, how often do her and I have like one of our Zoom calls and we're both in some basement conference room at a building
Right.
we've never been before in some city we've never been to before, right?
And it's even more important when you walk in somewhere and you're both in the same room. It's like, wait, what? This doesn't ever happen, or it doesn't happen too often. Yes.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So you have Blaine. Where else have you traveled and where all have you gone?
Sure. I think probably the one I will talk the most about, and this has nothing to do with my current job,
And that's fine.
is when I was going to school in Kentucky, I had and this is before COVID, I had a remote role to teach high school students debate with the school in New Jersey. And that kind of eventually morphed into a travel remote role.
Yeah.
So, I've been all over the U.S. at this point, not the whole thing, but I'm probably one of those people who will sit there and stand Jersey all day.
Absolutely.
People like to make complaints, but I'm not really here for it. I'm one of those people who's like, yep, Jersey pizza is just better than New York pizza. Jersey bagels are better. That makes people really angry to hear. But if you haven't been, New Jersey is actually for a small state or a really diverse place. I mean, you are in some places a stone's throw from New York City, and in other places you're in the Pine Barrens, which are virtually unchanged for tens, if not hundreds of millions of years. And considering its history, not just with the United States proper and beyond, it's a super neat place.
Yeah.
If you thought you were going to bash Jersey, go there and try it again.
Yep. Just take a second trip, or go see the back roads. Go to the places that you're not sure how they're going to be, because that's where you're going to get the home cooked and the good stuff.
That's exactly right. And that's, of course, all of my fellow Italians in New Jersey.
Yep.
I just had a call with a friend who I worked with this weekend, and I'm like, man, can you mail me some of your mom's pasta fagioli? Like,
Please.
None of us can get it that good here, right?
What's your favorite Italian food?
Oh, pepperonata. Yeah.
Nice.
So for those of you who don't know, it's usually kind of like a broth, not quite a stew, not quite a soup, but really is pepper and onion centric. And then from there, people do it with sausage. People would do it with shredded chicken. It's kind of one of those dishes that can like turn into anything if you want it to.
It's like a Minnesota hot dish where you just kind of keep adding stuff in. And
And for as much of a foodie as I am, like the little axiom about like, Italian home cooks are good and you'll never be able to replicate the recipe. Oh, that's true. I've been trying to copy my granddad's pasta fagioli pepperonata for 20 years, and I never even get close to the way
not
he
even
does
close.
It. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's like a little magic I'm not seeing happening.
Yep, the little extra love put into it for sure.
Yep. So pepper, and I like that you compared it to, what was it, the Minnesota hot dish?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's it. Well, there's something like that every culture has, and I find those are kind of the dishes people gravitate to.
Yeah. So you talked about helping in schools a lot. Do you ever do any mentoring where you help out other people that are in the same roles as you, or going to any schools or anything like that to try to kind of help them get more diverse or anything like that?
I wouldn't say we necessarily like have a formal program for that, but I do kind of, business development is really an abused term sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Nobody knows everything that we do, right?
Is it marketing? What is it? But
yes.
We do kind of put that under the bucket where, I would say just as often as I might take a meeting with a larger general contractor, I might have, a lunch with somebody from the city of St. Paul,
Right.
and we can just kind of compare notes. So, we also do professional development, right? Wing and
Yep.
I are out there
Uh-huh.
expanding our own knowledge base, and we get to interact with professionals like us. So, for anybody who's listening where you fall in that bucket, we are just as happy to take a lunch with you. And maybe it's just we establish a relationship and compare notes for a day. And other times, I mean, there are people like, I'll give them a shout out. John O'Phelan is a workforce and equity manager at Ramsey County. And like, he is my workforce
Yes.
guy. Anytime I have a question that I can't get answered at the U, I go to John. And that is because I don't even know how we met. Probably a career fair.
At the career fair, the
or an
small
industry
business.
event.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, you're doing the same thing, and I'm just starting this role. Yeah, let's go grab coffee. We'll see what's going on. And that's how some of our most fruitful relationships have developed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great to work with. I've worked with him a lot, and I've seen him at a lot of the career fairs and a lot of the procurement events that are out there. Sherrill Hill is amazing too.
Yeah.
Barb Law has a lot of knowledge from AWC.
Yep,
MnDOT.
shout out to Barb.
Yep, she's amazing. We could go on naming everybody's names at all the different associations.
Yeah.
What do you see growing wise as far as associations? Do you guys plan to do more? Are you kind of staying in the ones that you're in?
I think we have our core group, and it really makes sense because like a lot of the boxes are checked, whether it's just like the actual procurement opportunities or just networking. But I mean, we and especially myself, we'll try anything once.
Yep.
Right? So if there's a group that you think I should be involved in, I'm speaking to the viewers here. I mean, shoot me an email. Let me know what's going on. I'll show up, scope it out.
Absolutely.
It doesn't necessarily mean it would become part of our regular repertoire, but if we've got the time and you trust us to be in the room and contribute, we'll show up.
Yeah, and a lot of times you never know what's going to be a right fit for you. That's why a lot of us do so many different associations.
Yes.
You just never know.
That's exactly it. And then on top of all of this, it's like then you start to talk about at the individual level, like being involved in committees, right, with these organizations. And there's a whole nother component to that. So, I mean, that's, I guess, to take a moment to really give people advice, which is like, I think from the outside looking in, there can be a perception with like construction or even my past world of trucking, like, oh, it's unfriendly and everything's this, that, or the other way. I'm like, no, it's such a diverse world out there. There's so many fascinating people to meet. And as you kind of mentioned, I mean, I can't even count on my hand the number of people who, I would call up just to get a lunch with them to catch up and not even chat business because we just really connect. And that's a beautiful part of, maybe it's a Minnesota thing. Maybe it's because so much of this like touches the larger field of economic development, but it's so community driven.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when it's tough, I mean, I've gone to a lot of different networking events, things like that at colleges, things. When people think construction, they still kind of are that harrowed mind of, I'm going to be up there with a hammer, I'm going to be doing this. No, there's the law side, there's the HR side, there's the networking side. There's so many different assets to it that not a lot of our viewers even know about. They just think the straight up construction with the framing, the carpentry, everything like that.
Yeah. And even then, I mean, I kind of think beyond, I agree with all that and almost think beyond it where it's like, we're all people. All of us want to live long, happy lives filled with peace and
safely.
Yeah, safely. You would just be shocked by the people you will connect with that you might have thought, oh, I wouldn't like them because they worked in this industry. I'll give a shout out to my former employer, UPS. I mean, to talk about truckers who are just an absolute delight to be around.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite parts of the jobs. There are lots of big personalities that go into that. They're people that care about their work, and ultimately in the same way that building buildings, puts a roof over our head, all of us get packages shipped to us. So, just think about it that way. There is always a way to connect with these people, even if they are, the framer, the concrete pourer, or, the standpiper, whatever.
Whether it's matching personalities too. I think that's a lot of it. You come into something and there's someone that's hard-nosed and just trying to get the job done. Just ask questions why you're doing what you're doing. Be interested. Learn about what they're doing and start kind of building that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Well, we really appreciate having you out today. Where can people find you? How can they get a hold of you?
Right on. So again, we are at osd.umn.edu, osd.umn.edu. If you go to the Contact Us page, you will find my email, my office number on there. as well as all of my counterparts in that office. And I'm pretty quick on the draw. So you shoot me an email, you'll probably get a response the same day.
Yep.
Otherwise, keep a lookout for us at anything that, especially me, contractor related, construction related. I mean, we hit it all. Everything from Minnesota Tribal Contractors Council to just the Associated General Contractors of Minnesota.
Absolutely.
You'll
or
see
they
us
can
around.
come to our event and they can meet you there.
Hey, I like that. That's a good one. And I will say now that I'm thinking of it, the Small and Disadvantaged Business Opportunities Council has a trade fair on April 11th. I believe it's at the Earl Brown Heritage Center in Brooklyn Park. Yep. The OSD will have a booth. It sounds like you'll have a booth there. And I think that's probably closer to like what I would say is a flagship or capstone event during the year where everybody who's out here doing this, they're going to be at that event.
They're going to be there. Yeah. Hennepin County has one coming up too. I mean, there's just
we'll be
there's
there
a lot
too.
of places
Yep.
in AWC, but outstanding. Well, we really appreciate having you here today. Glad you could take a look at the new fun room that we did, and
love it. I'll be waiting for the Billy Bass up on the wall for the next time.
It'll be here.
Very good. Very good.
Or Danny the Deer or something like that. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, Karissa.
Yep. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.